Here.
Commissioner Boyle-Roloff,
Here.
Commissioner Kopke,
Present.
and President Rod Goldhahn, and Commissioner Warren Wanasek is excused. First item on the agenda is approval of the agenda. We all received that in the U.S. mail. There are no questions or changes. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Commissioner Kopke, seconded by Commissioner Roloff. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The agenda's been approved. Approval of the minutes. There was minutes from one meeting, our regular August meeting in the packet. Had a chance to read that. If there are no questions, entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Shaw,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Roloff. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes have been approved. President's report. Just one thing, Attorney Culney and I had a phone conference on the 26th of last month with the attorneys for Captain Lapine and the chief, and to check on how discovery was going. So we had some discussions around that, and then also to address the conflicts that we had in the hearing dates that were scheduled in December. We're currently working on finalizing the hearing dates, but given the responses I got from all the commissioners, I had recommended that we schedule January 7th and 8th. That's a Monday and Tuesday, but I'll confirm that with the commissioners once I hear back from the attorneys for the dates for the hearing, and then we'll hold.
And all the dates in December we take off our calendar.
Correct, yep. And then we'll hold that Wednesday afternoon as an additional time in the event that we need that. All right, that's the only thing I had, so we'll go to the chief. So we'll start with Chief Litton.
Good afternoon, just a few updates. I'll be getting the eligibility list from Fox Valley Technical College on the testing process, and a representative will be up next week, so the following week, so the 12th, week of the 12th, I believe, to bring the list of those that were successful in passing both the CPAT and the written list, and of course I'll share that with Jen as soon as we get done with that, and we'll move forward in doing interviews and so forth after that. So all those dates you just cleared up in December, I'll probably fill them up for you with all of that. So, we don't expect to have a big group this time, so we may limit the interviews, may shrink the candidates down a bit so that we're not wasting everyone's time in that endeavor. So we'll make that determination when we get a little closer.
But on a serious note, I think a large part of that conflict was with Jim. So if those dates work in December, we may still be able to use them if that works out.
Fair enough. Just an update, Station 5, you all probably have saw several weeks ago that our Station 5 flooded during that monumental monsoon that we had that kind of sat on Preble Hill and proceeded to rain, almost 9 inches of rain in that small area. The basement completely flooded and rendered the station inoperable, and we actually had 2.5 feet of water out on the apparatus floor, and that was into the living quarters, kitchen area of the station. So as of today, well, actually, so that happened on Monday, and by that following Saturday, we had them back in there with temporary power on generators and temporary heating system, which is sitting out in the front yard of the station, being piped into some boarded up windows that have been used as ductwork. So we're being told the electric will probably be fully restored. They had to order all new mechanical and electrical equipment throughout the entire station because everything that was damaged was, once it's in water, it's dead. The electrical should be restored within 2 weeks completely. The HVAC is maybe 6 weeks out yet, so we've got temporary heating and no control of how hot it gets or how cold it is, so other than the machine running out there, so it's not the best. But the personnel have been great about, those that are assigned to that station, all they want to do is get back in there. That leaves Station 5 serves all of 5 different aldermanic districts. So when you think of Station 5, you might just think, well, that's just Aldermanic District 5. Well, that's not it at all. It serves parts of 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We had about 15,000 people that were affected by that station being closed down. So we worked vigorously to get them back in there. We had a really, fortunately, the insurance company hired Paul Davis Company to do the restoration. It was the folks that were involved in the Preble restoration back when we had that fire like 3-4 years ago. And they've just been phenomenal to work with, so we are working on every day at adding, fixing something, doing something different, new carpet, new tile, new this, new that, so. That was quite the surprise. We've never had more than just puddles in a parking lot there, and just through a flash flood, basically, is what happened there.
Those pictures were phenomenal.
Yeah, it's, it's a little crazy. They got sent out, we got sent out on a building collapse at Nature's Way out on the far east side, Huron and Erie. And I should say Finger and Erie out in that area, they, from the time they left the station to go on that call, when that front hit, within an hour and a half, the station was flooded. And they were out chasing calls that whole time, so. And just to recap, I think we evacuated 100 people from 6 different apartment buildings. We had about 50 rescues from vehicles and people that had driven around barricades and flashing vehicles and everything else, and found themselves in 5 and 6 feet of water down in that area. So it was quite the night. So I commend a commendation to all the people that were working the street that night. They did a phenomenal job. Nobody was injured. Nobody lost their lives. So pretty extraordinary conditions during that whole evening. It didn't really calm down until about 3 in the morning. So the crews did an outstanding job. I checked with our training staff just prior to coming over here. I read the recent reviews on all of our probationary employees. We have 6 of them. All of the reviews have been outstanding. They're all doing really well. They're going, right now, they're in the process of changing shifts, and so for Commissioner Coppi's consumption, I'll just say this. So we call them cows right now, sacred cows, which means that once we assign them to a station, they can't be moved because of seniority or anything else while they're under probation. And we do that, and we move them around to different stations, different parts of the city, so that they can experience being on an engine company, downtown, outskirts, being on a ladder truck, and so forth. So they're going into their final rotation, take them through the end of the year. And then once that's done, and I don't expect that any of them won't be successful, but as long as they continue down the path that they are, then they'll be able to, they'll come off probation, they'll be able to bid into a station on shifts. So reviews have been outstanding across the board, without question. So that also gives different captains, it gives them 4 different views. We have 4 different senior captains that evaluate them because they're moving around the station, so it gives us different opinions and different views of things. So across the board, I read all of the evaluations this afternoon, and they are all, every single one of them were good. I'm not questioning any of them. So that's always great to see. And again, I think that's a testament to the Fox Valley hiring process, getting the personality profiles, the backgrounds on that, all the interviewing that the commission does, as well as chief officers. I think we've been pretty good and pretty lucky. We've had 2 out of 53 or so that haven't made it through that hiring process. So
That's pretty good.
that's like 90. I think it's like 96%. So I'm pretty happy with that. So we're just gonna. Hopefully the process will continue that way and gotten good results. Lastly, I want to introduce, first of all, Ryan Gibbons. Ryan has been with us a long time. If you guys want to give him some time, he can tell you about himself. But he's moving up from battalion chief to assistant chief effective this last Monday. Chief Eamon, Assistant Chief Eamon, will be leaving in December, but it is such a critical position in the department with all the responsibilities there. It's a third in command of the department that I wanted an 11-week, basically, time for them to go together and all these things, interfacing with the hospitals and the EMS community and all the state agencies that position entails, plus all of our software, technical stuff that goes on. So there's a lot there and a lot to be learned, but Ryan brings a really good background in those areas. So Ryan has moved up, and then next to him in that beautiful new white shirt is Anthony Piontek, or Tony. Tony's moving up from being a lieutenant at Station 6 up to battalion chief. He was the highest choice for battalion chief in the last process that we just did. Tony spent a lot of his time down at downtown station here, Station 2. About a year and a half or so, went over to Station 6 just to get a different view of the city and and was a successful candidate moving up the battalion, so he started on Monday as well in that role. He had spent time shadowing over the last 6 months when we had above our minimum manning. He was shadowing the battalions during that time, but in the last 4 weeks, I assigned him to days before he actually got promoted or moved up. He was assigned to days, and he just rode shadow with all the different battalion chiefs to give him just different views of how the guys, they do things differently and, you know, get their strengths and all of that. So I think the process was pretty good. They've started on Monday, and they're here to say hello.
All right. You look so serious over there. Why don't you tell us a bit about your careers?
So again, my name is Ryan Gibbons. I'm 43 years old now. I've been in the fire service since I was actually 14 years old. My dad was a fireman in a small town in north central Wisconsin. So I started a cadet program there when I knew early on that this is what I wanted to do, and have been on a department since then. Whether it was there, went to Fox Valley Tech. Out of that program there, I interned 3 out of my 4 semesters at Grand Chute, so I was living in a fire station all that time. Met my wife there at school, who's from the area, so I stayed here with her, and I got hired in Green Bay. I was on the list for a while, but I knew that this is where I wanted to come. I wanted to be a paramedic, so as soon as I could, once I got hired here, went to paramedic school, and did that, and then was from a lieutenant to battalion chief not very long ago. And then this opportunity presented itself, and thought it would be a good fit, and here we are today.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
My name is Tony Pianter. Also started pretty young. There's pictures of me in turnout gear when I was 3.
You do that child labor.
Do they still fit?
He was cheap then.
Very far from, but started in my hometown of De Pere as a paid-on-call while I was going to school at Fox Valley Tech. Moved out to Colorado, was a firefighter there for a year, got called up by Green Bay, wanted to come home, and it's a great place. I had a young family. It was a great place to come back to. So raised my family here. I've been here 23 and a half years or so. Made my way through the ranks up to lieutenant. I had a small stint in there when I was training captain, 2-3 years. Was also on Department of Howard as their training officer during that time as well. Been teaching across the country for almost 20 years. Pretty respected instructor, instructing at some of the best conferences in the country. So just look forward to sharing what I know and being a part of a great team, and honored and humbled that you selected me.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. The chief indicated a little bit that you've got a very thorough process in selecting you folks, and I think the peer reviews that you have amongst the other battalion chiefs and the chief and assistant chief are very thorough, so you're very deserving of those roles, and we look forward to working with you.
Thank you.
That ends my report.
Didn't you have a firefighter that was injured?
We did, yep, fire this week, at one of our firefighters, Station 3.
Okay.
Basically, just overheated, had some issues there, had to be transported to the hospital, was released later that night, so he's doing fine.
Okay.
Well, I think, frankly, everything else is all interviews and the budgets and that, so
We're out.
other than November 1st will probably be the next meeting. Thank you, gentlemen, and again,
Yes.
congratulations.
Thanks.
Thank you. You guys have a good day.
All right, Chief Smith.
So on the police side, I'll start off with a little bit of bad news. Bob Matheny is one of our community policing guys, about 30 years on. He's set to retire probably the end of December. His wife has been battling cancer for a number of years, I think 8 years or so, and she ultimately passed away a couple of nights ago. Bob's been at home with her on hospice. Services are Friday up in near Swamico. What is it, Fieldville?
Flintville.
Flintville. the services are up in Flintville and on Friday, and then the funeral and more of viewing is on Saturday morning. So, sad for Bob, and it's been such a long, difficult road for him and his family, I'm sure.
What's his last name?
Matheny, Matheney.
M-A-T-H-E-N-Y.
E-N-Y.
Oh,
Matheny. And, just a, salty earth guy. He's been here for, like I say, 30 years. Came from Kenosha. His dad was a cop in Kenosha, so, sad for him. Good news on the crime side, our total crime numbers are down 11%, and as I realized that I came over here, I didn't send a crime update this week, so I'll do that when I get back to the station. Sorry about that. 11% total down, 14% down in property, and our violent crime is at a is still up 9%, but we've been chipping away at it. I'm hoping we can get to 0 by the end of the year on the violent crime side. We have had a series of shootings throughout the city since April 4th. We've been tracking them. Total of, I think, 15, or as of a couple nights ago, there was another one, so a total of 15. We think 9 of them are related to this group of young individuals who are, having difficulty with each other, and they think the right way to handle that is go to someone's house and shoot some bullets into their door, and then they come back and shoot bullets into their car, and things of that nature. We have had 2 people shot a couple months ago, one in the stomach, I think I told you about that. Another guy was shot in the leg a while back over there by the laundromat. People are in custody in those, which is, the good news. We got together with some leaders in the community, mostly African American leaders, to talk about this and what we can do about it. We had probably 15 people in our community room last week to talk about this and what we could do. And one thing we came up with was having some of the community intervention kind of specialists go out there. So we hooked them up with the detectives that are working the case. So they're going to go behind the scenes and say, look, what's it going to take to resolve this? I mean, is this an argument over who's dating whom, or is it an argument over a little bit of weed that somebody sold someone or didn't pay for or something? So we're hopefully we can get that. Hasn't been any in a little while, so I'm hoping it's calmed down a little bit. But that's always worrisome when people are shooting around. The one that I mentioned over here on Eastwood, the fellow was shot in the stomach. He had a 10-year-old boy just a couple of feet away from him, which is, the potential for disaster is right there. So
What's the consequences when somebody does a shooting but not death?
yeah, well, as Judge Zeidholter told us, he wants us to go for the highest possible charge, attempt murder. And I always thought if you point a gun at somebody, pull the trigger, you're trying to shoot them. You're not trying to wing them or whatever. And so we should go with the highest charge possible. But what does somebody get for an assault, shot in the stomach, that kind of thing? What would you figure a sentence would be?
15 at least. Didn't
15.
kill him.
Yeah.
So it'll be gone for a while.
Gone for a while. Yeah. We did have an interesting case the other day. I got on the TV this morning. One of the things I talked about was a burglary at Baird's Creek. Somebody smashing car windows and grabbing stuff out of people's cars. Happened a total of 4 times so far, mostly over this weekend. So yesterday, we're driving back from Coffee with a Cop, National Coffee with a Cop Day at Veterans Manor, and I'm driving back with Captain Warwick. We see these cars zipping towards the other way on University. So, this might be fun. We'll go check it out. Sure enough, we go to Farland Street, 1600 block of Farland Street, and there's a handicapped fellow that lives there who uses medical marijuana for whatever ailment he has, but he doesn't believe in banks, and he keeps all this stuff in his house. Well, he's been burglarized 4 times already. And this call turned out to be a burglary at his house. One of the neighbors saw a kid pull the plywood that we had put on his doors, because we came with Habitat for Humanity and rebuilt his doors because he kept getting kicked in. One of the things he does every day, he takes long walks as part of his therapy. So everybody knows he's gone. Everybody knows he has weed in the house. Everybody knows he has money in the house. So they break in, they steal his stuff. So yesterday we got there just in time, and I was right there as they rolled up, but this young fellow came running out of underneath the plywood that we used to secure the back door and tried to run away, but his backpack got caught on the plywood.
Oh.
And the comedic effect of this guy flying in the air, landing on his back, and all the cops swarming on him, was great. Talked to the owner down the street, and I was having a conversation with him when a van passed by me wrong side of the street at a rate of speed that was a little bit too high for the conditions. So they made a quick U-turn and started when they saw the cops and started coming back. So we stopped the kid. A 27-year-old guy, he had a 3-year-old son in there, but we detained him for just riding on the wrong side of the street and driving too quickly for the conditions. And he was what we would call hinky when you ask him questions like, "Can I see your driver's license?" what do you need to see my driver's license for? Oh, you're driving too quickly on the wrong side of the road, and I'm gonna write you a ticket. What are you writing me a ticket for? The violation I just said, can I see your driver's license? Why didn't you see my driver's license? I said, okay, get out of the car. So he gets out of the car, standing back there, and he's with Andy Weiss, and you look in the car, and there's a driver's license in the back seat of the car belonging to the guy who we just got out of the house that was burglarizing it. It's the same guy.
Oh.
So they checked his car eventually, found a loaded gun in the front seat, found a bunch of weed in there, a bunch of property that was stolen, including, we think, some stuff that was stolen from Baird's Creek. So we're looking to tie that all together, and these guys are both in jail. They're probably gonna have the charges filed today. But interesting caper how it all goes around and comes
Yeah.
around, and, you know.
Yeah. Wow.
So that was interesting. The other thing I want to check real.
It's also a great response, because you think these burglars, they're usually quick in and out.
Right.
So to have squads on scene that.
Right,
quickly is
yeah,
pretty-
and it was Janelle Kleeman, and it was Nick Walvort, Miranda Walvort, and Jerry Young, and Chad Ramos were out there, so it's great. And great to watch them, you know, everybody did the right thing, and they came in, and an extra additional backup came, and they called a canine in to search the house, because they thought there might be another suspect inside of there, and, you know, obviously the owner was upset, but we got him calmed down on the outside of the road, so it worked out really well. On the recruiting side of things, we're hoping, if things go well, we'd have a graduation in November with as many as 8 people getting sworn in. That's kind of our goal right now. We'd also like to have another one in December, once we catch the people that graduate from the local academy here. We could catch them middle of December, and then we could get as many as 10 or 13 if we really stretch it with getting the backgrounds done and everybody meet material approval. So which should go a long way towards the fact that we're losing about 8 more, I think, right around Christmas time.
So 8 plus 13, or 13 in total? So
13 in total, yeah. So we're gonna lose 8, but then, you know, we're having difficulty with the budget. I meet with the budget, the mayor on the budget tomorrow, and we're probably gonna have to drop our total numbers down from 194 to significantly lower in order to meet all the budget issues that the city's having. And that's the same for the fire and same for everybody else's departments as well. But these guys are really enthused. They're going full speed ahead. Jody's doing a great job. Went down to Waukesha yesterday.
Went down to Waukesha yesterday. Had 2 people that tested with us. We've got a testing on Wednesday of next week with Milwaukee. They have 4 unsponsored candidates that we're going to try to grab. And then we have, we're setting up another testing with Madison. So far we have 6 that have said that they want to take the test that are unsponsored already. So we should have enough to do backgrounds on. And we've got 5 sitting on the board right now that we're going to start their background starting Monday. So.
And we have some pretty good candidates that may need the academy, but we're thinking if we could get them in, hooked up pretty quick after the first of the year, by the time the academy's done in May, we roll up with some really good ones. And obviously the ones, if we're going to sponsor them in the academy, they're going to have to be, you know, just about the perfect candidate, right? I mean, all the things we're looking for in candidates. And you know what? I keep telling these guys, we're not going to cut back on our standards. We're not going to lower the quality of people that we're going for. As you see, we say no to a lot more than we say yes to. And but I think we're getting a reputation of being a good place to work and with high standards, and get some good people that are applying. And that, I think, is that. I think we have a lot of interviews to do today.
One of the things we talked about with fire, may have been before the meeting, is we went through a bumble of a lot of retirements. So there were 3 years in there where we had, I think as many as 13 new hires, and 11 the next year, and I think 8 maybe the year after, or something like that. Are we hitting that bubble in the police, or are we going to
Boy,
be
I
this
keep
high for a
hoping it
while?
tapers off, but I think it's going to be that way for a little while. You know, we've got 8 or so at Christmas time, and I know 2 already in the year coming up. Brad Linsmeyer and David Perrell are both going to be retiring probably May, early or mid-spring. So, and I'm just thinking that the next go-around, must have done 30 years ago, they must have done a big hiring push right around,
Yes,
the
it's
late 80s,
cyclical.
early 90s.
Yeah.
So here we are. So I'm thinking after a while it's going to back off, and we'll have 3 or 4 a year probably, but I don't think we're going to see that next year. I think it's going to be more of the same for a little while.
Okay.
And it's a tough time because everybody's hiring now because everybody else was hiring then, and the economy's so good with the 2%, 2.5% unemployment. If you're not somebody that wants to be a cop, and has been planning on this. There's plenty of other opportunities around.
And Chief, have you and the Mayor had a chance to talk specifically about the numbers going from 194 to, do you have an idea?
No, what I'd like to do is keep it at 194 and maintain that number, even if we can't meet it and we're obligated to go below it. I'd like to keep that as the number on our table of organization, because it's a lot easier to keep it and not meet it than to try and get it back up there again 2 years from now when the budget finally gets a little straighter. We're supposed to meet tomorrow.
Okay.
And we'll go over that
Sounds
stuff
good.
with our business manager and whatnot.
Yeah, I hope, regardless, I hope they prioritize police and fire. That should be.
He's
really-
been pretty supportive of the
Okay.
police department, and I think he will. But the reality of it is, it's a really bad budget year for everybody, and I think across the board, they're looking at cuts on everybody. And we've been running with some pretty good vacancies and still able to keep our crime down. But it's wearing, you can tell it's wearing on some of our officers, because they're running, as they say, huckily buck from call to the call. And they're definitely keeping busy and definitely earning their money out there.
Well, thanks for all you guys do with
Yeah,
with the budget. Yeah, we saw it coming with, last year, plugging things with one-time funding, and just not a way to do it.
Yep.
So hopefully we get a long-term solution here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, we had originally asked, just as an example, we had originally asked for 20 cars, because, we went from a 3-year cycle to a 4-year cycle on cars by changing the model and adding a battery and doing some other things to reduce the wear and tear on those cars. But if we don't regularly fill those with about a dozen cars a year, we're gonna end up on a 5-year or 6-year cycle. And 6-year cycles for a car that's running just about around the clock, once they kick over 100,000 miles on the odometer, they're getting rattly and it costs more to keep them up. But they knocked that down to 6, and then they knocked it down to 0, so we'll see where it all ends up.
Okay.
Hopefully we'll be able to have at least a few cars in there.
Awesome.
When's our first interview scheduled?
1:30.
Oh, okay. Oh, 1:30. Oh, okay. All right.
3 minutes.
Thank you, Chief. Any other questions for the Chief? All right, next action is consideration with possible action on the budget status report and the budget spreadsheet. They were in your packet. Looks like we're getting up to our limit, our budget, so we'll need some more.
Need more money?
Yeah, because, and all the spending is dealing with physicals and drug screens and things like that. so,
And do we wait
please.
till after they go through the interview with us to do that, or do we do it before that?
It's after.
After?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so you saw those. If there are no questions, I'll entertain a motion to receive and place those on file.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Roloff,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Schaaf, to receive and place on file the budget status report and the budget spreadsheet. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we'll receive those and place on file. And consideration with possible action on the request to approve the monthly bills. Again, all related to physicals, drug screens. If there are no questions, I'll entertain a motion to authorize payment.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Roloff,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Schaaf. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we'll pay the bills. And consideration with possible action on the request to approve patrol officer eligibility list. The last page in your packet is the newest updated list. And again, those are listed in alphabetical order, not any order of rating or anything like that. If there are no questions, I'll
And
entertain a motion.
on the
to approve.
eligibility list, even though we haven't interviewed yet, right?
Correct.
Right.
So it's some
These are
from the state.
candidates who
Okay, okay,
Be
candidates.
Yeah.
seen in the
Yeah.
future.
Okay.
So if there are no more questions, entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Shaw,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Roloff. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Approve the list. The next two items.
Yes.
Consideration with possible action on review of patrol officer candidates and also interviews with patrol officer candidates. Please take note that the commission may convene in closed session pursuant to sections 19.85, paragraph I sub CF, Wisconsin statutes, to consider employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercise responsibility. The commission may thereafter reconvene in open session pursuant to section 19.85, paragraph 2, Wisconsin statutes, to report the results of the closed session and consider the balance of the agenda. So is there a motion to go into closed session for two purposes? One, to review patrol officer backgrounds, and 2, to conduct interviews with patrol officer candidates.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Shaw,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Roloff. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we are in closed session. Was there a motion to go back into open session?
Yep, Nancy and Mary.
Oh.
Ditto.
All right, while in closed session, we went into closed session for both items number 4 and number 5, so single closed session for the 2 items. The first item was consideration with possible action on the review of patrol officer candidate backgrounds. While in closed sessions, we reviewed 9 backgrounds. 2 of those, the individuals requested to not continue in the process because they had taken other jobs, or in one case, the person returned to the military. 7 additional ones, we chose not to continue in the process because of information that occurred during the background investigations. Is there a motion to approve those decisions? Moved by Commissioner Schaaf,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Roloff. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, those 7 will be dealt with that way. In addition, we had, we'll move on to item number 5, and that was interviews with patrol officer candidates. We initially had 5 candidates to interview. One of those could not make the interview today because of some work commitments, so we will move that person into next month's meeting if the schedule works out. We interviewed 4 other candidates. One of those we are gathering more information on. The other 3 we are continuing in the hiring process. Is there a motion to approve that statement?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Kupke,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Shaw. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We'll proceed on those. Date of the next meeting, our normal schedule would have us on November 1st at 3. That obviously could change since we'll probably have some more interviews to do. So we'll put that in as a placeholder with the knowledge that we may come back and want to either do something earlier or a different day than that. There are no public hearings. Next item is adjournment. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Roloff,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Shaw. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Awesome.